What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So I know I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger at the end of last week as to which house I was going to choose for Fire Emblem. Well, I decided to go with Blue Lions, and I'm curious where everyone else fell on it that maybe picked it up over the weekend and what house they went with. But yeah, Blue Lions for my first playthrough. I think the second playthrough, I might go Black Eagle, because that's what a lot of people I've seen are talking about as being a good house to go through for your first playthrough. But here I am as a Blue Lion playing through it. And here's the thing. If Astral Chain gets here, by the time I'm done this playthrough, I mean, I'm on to Astral Chain, and it'll probably be a little while before I come back to Fire Emblem. But today, we have some interesting news to go over, because it looks like there might actually be a fourth Doom game. That's right, we talked about the 3 that surprise launched, but it seems like there actually might be another one that could be showing up soon, so we'll go over that. And you might be surprised which one it is, because, well, we haven't had it released on anything else that I've seen other than the Nintendo 64. And also, there was a hashtag that was trending on Twitter over the weekend, and I took a look at it, and I'm pretty excited about it, and I hope it works out. So I figure we'll work to signal boost it even further if we can here on the show. We'll talk a bit about that later on. As always, guys, enjoy these videos. Make sure to like button. It does help out. We're actually going to start today with Pillars of Eternity 1. I know the second one is coming. They've already said that it is coming to the Switch and everything, and that's good. But the first one also needs to show up, and they are doing that. Possibly, I assume, to just kind of give you the chance to play the first one ahead of the second one. Well, the first one's actually coming pretty soon, August 8th. They took to Twitter to announce it, and if you've never played Pillars of Eternity, it's basically like a Baldur's Gate style game. In fact, it's been talked about as being like a spiritual successor, kind of isometric top-down style game, and it's good. It's slower than Diablo, so if you like Diablo 3, that, but slower and not as actiony. So that's the best way I can describe it. But it is a quality game. People really like it. Great reviews around it. And of course, if you end up liking the first one, well, the second one is also coming to the Switch. Also, we had that update for GTA 5. Remember the Grand Theft Auto Online that was like the full casino? And we're all talking about the gambling stuff around it because it's as straightforward as you get with it for the most part. They have some limits, but I mean, you're doing slot machines, you're playing poker, blackjack, and everything. But there is a bit of a reference in there, or an Easter egg, towards another series that people are really, really hoping comes back, myself included. That's Bully. Because check this out. This is actually something you can buy in the game with the new update for the casino. And yeah, you're seeing exactly what appears to be something from Bully. If you haven't played Bully before, on the front you have the coat of arms, and that's the fist, the snake, the skull, and a rat. And basically you can see that if you take a look at the front of the box art on the PS2, for example, and people are now wondering if they're kind of dropping some hints and Easter eggs. In fact, it is named Matthew Morse, so what do the diehards fans do? Well, they say, hey, it's got to be Morse code. So that's how serious this is, Rockstar. That's how invested your fans are in the Bully series. So I really do hope that second one is around the corner. I thought about it some. I think Bully 2 is a good way to see this generation outright, the PS4, the Xbox One, and everything, like release it next year, because let's be real, Rockstar is going to release it here, and then also move it over to the next consoles as well, especially if there's like an online aspect to it. But Bully 2 would be amazing, and I hope this is just them pointing and saying, hey guys, guess what's next? It's the next Bully. We've also talked at times about the homebrew community with the Switch, because they keep doing so many cool things with the system, and we're still waiting for different themes from Nintendo, or a way to locally back up our save data, or even just a way to message our friends. Well, now they've just put full-blown Android on the thing, and here's the thing. We heard about this like over a month ago, but it wasn't released at all by the community. Now it is. It's out there. Technically, it's unofficial, obviously, because Nintendo's not putting Android on the thing, but the community is. It's out there. You can technically check it out as long as you have a hacked Switch, and it's kind of neat to see a full other operating system running on the Switch that can then let you run other games. Things like Half-Life 2. People are running that. People are running Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Like, these really cool games that a lot of us want. Now we've had Linux on there as well, but Android really opens up the possibilities for different apps that, of course, a lot of emulators and stuff that haven't already been ported to the Switch, and then just a ton of games that are there. So exciting stuff for the community there with the homebrew and everything, but I'm just looking for Nintendo to implement any new feature. And guys, some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start with that fourth Doom game, Doom 64. Of course, that should tell you the system it was on, the Nintendo 64, like I said before. But it's never left the 64 from what I've seen. In fact, it's been mostly emulated on PC and then, of course, played on your local Nintendo 64 if you want to play it. There hasn't been re-releases that I've seen or any other way to legally play it. Of course, because you're just downloading ROMs and everything on your PC. But now people are getting really excited because while we had ratings, and we did have these ratings for Doom 1, 2, and 3 leading up to their release at QuakeCon, they kind of popped up right around the time they were getting announced. Another one popped up, as you're seeing here. Gamatsu actually spotted it for Doom 64, and it does describe it as you'd expect. Peggy 16, the demons have returned even stronger and more vicious than before. As the only experienced survivor of the Doom episode, your commission is reactivated, and that is for PC, PlayStation 4 with a release date of July 26th. That obviously did not happen, but the other ones came out, so now we're all kind of looking at this and saying, wait a minute, where's Doom 64? And that's kind of the hard part here. That's figuring out why it didn't release alongside the other ones is anyone's guess. Maybe they want to hold it off and do its own release, because it's kind of a big deal if you think about it. We've had Doom 3 on other platforms. We had Doom 1 and 2 all over the place at one point. Doom 1 gets ported to everything. They've ported it to the MacBook touchpad or the touch strip and everything. It's everywhere. Doom 64 is actually an event. That is going to be a big deal when it's its own game. Like, it's not a remake of something. It's not like the original Doom, but on the 64. It's the same formula, obviously, but it's not that game just flat out moved over. It's its own game, own visuals and everything. So when this does happen, and I say when because it's been rated, you don't really rate things unless you have a plan to release it. Now, you probably saw that it said PlayStation 4 and PC, and you might say, well, why not Xbox or Switch? Here's the thing, that's the same exact setup there for the other ratings. So it's probably coming to everything. Xbox, Switch, PC, PS4, it's probably coming to everything as well. So most likely it's going to release and they're going to say it's out today, tomorrow. It could be any time because remember, Doom 1, 2, and 3, they just released. It was just like, hey guys, surprise, they're all out. So go download them. Make sure you sign in, Bethesda.net, but go download them. Next up, let's actually talk about those DRM issues for Doom, Doom 2, Doom 3, I guess, on the Switch. It was mostly putting out for the Switch. I believe it was the same pretty much for like everything, I think, but it was definitely putting out on the Switch because everyone was downloading the games for the Switch. It's seeing Doom 3, for me anyway, was cool to see it as a handheld game because I remember when it first showed up and it just beat up my video cards so badly at the time. To think that it could be a handheld game, it would have blown my mind then, and it kind of still is now. I know Doom 3 doesn't look amazing now, but at the time, it really was. It was Crysis back then, basically, for your computer to test your stuff. Anyway, we had these weird DRM issues where when you first started up, it said, hey, sign in with your Bethesda.net account if you want to play. And it was like, what? Why do we have to sign in with an online account, an email, for a game that was released in 1993. That doesn't make any sense, and it basically made you do it. Now, here's the thing. You could punch in any email you wanted. It didn't even have to be like an activated one because it didn't actually verify it, so you could put in whatever you want and just bypass it, and that was it. However, after you do that, you could play offline, no problem. Put in airplane mode, you're good to go. But it would occasionally still pop up and say, hey, you're not connected to Bethesda.net. What's going on here? And that didn't sit well with, everyone. Because no one really likes DRM. DRM is, of course, an annoyance. It's generally needed for companies now because, of course, piracy and other stuff. But no one really likes DRM. No one likes to be connected to the internet to play an offline game. It's just not practical. It's not great for us. So, of course, we don't like it. But it looks like Bethesda made a mistake. That wasn't supposed to happen. This is actually the tweet they put out. Update on our new classic Doom releases. The Bethesda.net login requirement was included for the Slayers Club to reward players for playing the classic Doom games. The login should be optional, and we are working on changing the requirement to optional now. So that is... it's odd. It's weird that it wasn't just optional in the first place unless it kind of slipped through. I see these as almost last minute releases. Like it definitely feels like they were surprise releases to us and kind of them just with some of the stuff going on here. There are some weird things going on with these releases. Let me give you an example. If you go to the eShop page for the first Doom, and you look at the bottom right of the screenshots, it says trial mode. It's an odd thing to see there, but that's because they actually used Unity to port Doom over. So it's using the trial version. Well, people are saying that because at any time with Unity, if you have a change, you don't update and connect to the internet, you'll have that little trial mode thing in the bottom right. And what people are speculating right now and assuming, whoever took the screenshots had trial mode on because they hadn't connected, and that's how it ended up. It's weird because that means that they didn't curate it very well and say, wait a minute, we got to retake these screenshots. Just go run around real quick, Greg, and just snap some pictures. We're good, right? Yeah, it seems very rushed, but it's just another thing to point at and say, well, why? DRM trial mode images here. It seems rushed, but they seem to be ironing it out so that you won't have the Bethesda Net thing pop up all the time. It'll be optional, and then we're playing Doom on the Switch and other platforms, so at least I guess they're working it out. Next up, let's talk about a game that I really, really like, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. This is back on the Gamecube. Love the game. It was, I think, like the pinnacle of the Paper Mario series, and after that, it was pretty much a downward slope. That was it. It was like, it was over after that. Now, look, the one on the Wii wasn't bad, but then you get into, of course, the 3DS and then the Wii U, and it was just, oh, man, it was not good. The GameCube one, though, was amazing. I have the HDMI adapter for my GameCube, and playing it on that is really, really cool, but it's left on the GameCube, and that's the one that we all look at. Like, you can pretty much look at the others, and some people just won't like it. They'll point it out and say, I don't like Color Splash on the Wii U because of this. I don't like the original one because of this. But everyone looks at that GameCube version, and they say, this is it. I really like this game, and I can't find a lot of faults with it, so it is by far the best in the series. Basically, everyone unanimously says this is the best in the series, and that's why a lot of people want this to come back. And it seems that Arlo has actually started a full trend on Twitter. It really is amazing to see this. A hashtag Remaster 1000 Year Door. And it was trending. I was amazed to see it. I was really impressed. It's really cool to see people come together for this because this is a game that, yes, should be on the Switch. And I don't necessarily want to stop at just moving it over. I think they could actually get a lot out of this. Like, I think they could move it over. They could smooth it out, up-res it. They could do all kinds of stuff to clean it up really, really well and then release it. And I think they could even do a physical release. I think they could actually go all out with this thing. I don't think it necessarily just has to be a quick move over, cash grab type thing. I know a lot of people just want it to exist, but I think they could do more with it. Like, it's that good of a game. Now, Arlo points back to an interview with some of the creators that says, hey, if people are loud enough about this, maybe something will happen back in 2016. So I think it's a great idea. I think everyone should use the hashtag that's on screen right now and tweet around, throw some great memories about the game, some fan art like Arlo was saying, and tweet to some of the official accounts respectfully, a message or two saying, hey, I would really like this, or I would be interested. Keep in mind, these are businesses and companies, and they are thinking, would you buy the game? So say, hey, I would buy it. If you brought this back, that's if you're actually interested. If you don't care, don't worry about it. But if you like playing the game and you would like to see it on the Switch, possibly some enhanced features, whether it's visuals or controls, or maybe some extra levels or paths or something in the story, let them know. In our last bit of news, let's talk very quickly about some Fire Emblem sales. So Three Houses came out, of course, Friday. We're going to see some early initial sales numbers, but we got a quick little glimpse at how it's doing in the UK, and this is actually a tweet, as you're seeing here, put out by Christopher Dring, who is from GameIndustry.biz. They would be putting out their UK sales charts coming out. They seemed really excited. I just wanted to let everyone know. Three Houses is #1 in the UK charts this week, sold almost double the launch sales of 2013's Fire Emblem Awakening, which is great because that's the game that saved the series and everything, and more than double the combined sales of the first two Fire Emblem Fates games. It's also really impressive. And he also goes on to say it was comfortably #1 too. It managed to more than double the box sales of Wolfenstein Youngblood, which made #2. Okay, first of all, I'm a little sad that Wolfenstein Youngblood made #2 because it's not a great game. I played some of it. It's not as good as New Colossus, but to see Fire Emblem jump this far, this quickly in the UK charts is great. I mean, it's at #1, and the UK really likes things like Crash, like CTR. That's generally, #1. And then, of course, Mario Maker 2's in there. We just have Wolfenstein Youngbloods come out. This is great for Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem sells, but it doesn't it sells, it doesn't sell. You know what I mean? It's not gonna blow out like a sales chart or anything before. But now it seems to be gaining some momentum, some notoriety there, and now, of course, it's back on home consoles. It seems to be getting some interest here, so I'm going to be curious about the Famitsu sales charts. We'll see at the NPD. The NPD is going to be the real test, because if it can make it in the US as Fire Emblem, that's gonna be really cool. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here from Mateo. Fire Emblem Three Houses Game of the Year, period. And here's the thing about Fire Emblem possibly winning Game of the Year. If you remember when Persona 5 was nominated, that was a big deal. That surprised a lot of people. JRPGs, strategy RPGs, these aren't things that will generally be in Game of the Year contention. Like RPG of the Year, absolutely. I could see that happening like easily. We'll see, of course, what else still has to come out, but keep in mind, if we're talking about the Video Game Awards, they specifically have an RPG category for games like Fire Emblem. That's why it was such a big deal when Persona 5 was up there, because it broke through kind of that glass ceiling for JRPGs like that. Now, the other thing is Death Stranding's coming out. Let's be real, Death Stranding, as long as it's at least decent, it's going to be in the Game of the Year nomination. And if it's good and if it's arguable, it's probably Game of the Year. I mean, let's just be honest about this, right? I mean, sure, there are still some other stuff coming up. I'm hoping that Doom Eternal can get it, because Doom Eternal's looking pretty good right now, but still a lot of stuff to come out. You never know what could really surprise and really catch on. I mean, Celeste was nominated. You never know. So we'll see. Maybe an indie game can, again, come out of nowhere and surprise us. But hey, we still got a ways to go here until December. And ladies and gentlemen, let's go do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button, really helps us out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about, whether it's the 1,000-year door movement. Can we get this game back? Can we get it on the Switch? Up-res, cleaned up and everything, and set up for a new generation that, to be honest, probably missed it. I unboxed some of these Gamecube these games, and people have never played them, so yeah, show them the best game in the series, absolutely. And what about Doom 64, another game that could be coming back from the 64 that, again, most people haven't played, so exciting stuff going forward, and you never know what could show up, guys. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.